So after a simply mind-blowing night at Old Trafford, heart rates are finally beginning to return to normal, and we have to start looking ahead to the rest of our season. Of course, we have big games in the Europa League still to come, but in terms of the Premier League, things are fairly easy till the rest of the season. Not in terms of the matches are easy, but it's not too much pressure, and Ruben Amorim seems to know that. He has already suggested that we will see some of the youngsters in these remaining games, so I thought today we would take a look at 6 youngsters that I think will get their opportunity. So the first player that I want to talk about is Godil Kukoni. This is someone that we've spoken about before on the channel, and I think he has a decent opportunity to come into the team. Why is that? Well, because he is a left-sided centre-back, and if you look at the United situation currently, we've got De Ligt out injured, we've got Luke Shaw, who has struggled for fitness for a long time now, we've got Aiden Heaven out with injury, Harry Maguire is often a player that needs to be protected, Lenny Yoro we don't want to play too much. Kukoni, naturally, probably will get an opportunity at some point in this team. What can you expect to see? Well, a very powerful young man. Someone who is very, very tall, very strong, very broad for his age, quite comfortable defending in a lot of different situations, pretty decent speed without being outrageously quick, but on the ball, a real confidence. Someone who is happy to take the ball playing out from goal kicks. You know, should we see Onana in goal, looking to play the ball short, Kukoni he'll be comfortable in those moments. He's more than happy to draw players towards him, kind of play with the ball under pressure, and I would say he actually is not only comfortable here, actually thrives here. He sort of actively looks for this. He wants to take the ball in these moments, and that's a good thing in terms of the prospect as a United centre-back. A little bit higher up the pitch, again, we'll see comfort on the ball, but also progressive actions. Kukoni isn't just, he's good on the ball. He's very good on the ball for his age. He's really composed, but also really progressive, regularly firing passes through the lines. So he's going to sort of disguise as though he's going to play outside the pitch, heading this way, and then at the last moment he's going to fire the ball in between the lines. And in his current system, looking to find perhaps one of the 10s in this position could be a really good idea. So I think Kukoni will get his chance this season. He, of course, isn't necessarily going to come in and play amazingly because it's difficult to come in at centre-back, particularly in a bit of a mix and match team at times, but I think Kukoni will get an opportunity at some point and hopefully he plays well. Now, another player that I think's got a real opportunity is Jack Mohouse. Now, this is not someone that we have spoken about before on the channel, but recently I believe he has been training with the first team, he's experienced some minutes there, and I think he might be an option for the first team in the starting 11. Why is that? Well, because he plays, in my opinion, in sort of this left 10 position. There have been shouts that he could play in sort of like a 3-man midfield, but I think at United coming into the first team, playing in the front 3 makes a little bit more sense. It perhaps removes some of the defensive pressure on him. And again, when you consider the current circumstances, Ahmad injured, Mason Mount still not fully back properly yet, Joshua Zirkzee injured for the rest of the season, we're relatively low on options right now in terms of attackers. We've got Højlund and Garnacho. So why not give Morehouse an opportunity? Someone who is comfortable on the ball and would actually bring a very different skill set to what we've seen at Old Trafford this season. What we have lacked all season long is the ability to drive with power in transition. Now, when I talk about power, I'm not talking about someone who is 6'3" and broad and got a massive stride length and drives through the pitch. That's not how he carries the ball. However, he's got a lot of power in his legs. He's got good acceleration over the first few yards. He uses his body well to protect the ball. And what I really like is that when he's dribbling with the ball, and sometimes it's dribbling, sometimes it's carrying, what I like is that he tends to play with his head up. So he's not looking at the floor, he's looking up, but he's still got in total control of the ball. So he's driving forward, he's looking for options, and just constantly taking little touches with the ball. That can be with the right foot, the left foot, or the outside of the right boot. Real comfort with the ball using different parts of his foot, which I also think is a good sign. And yeah, I just think, till the end of the season, why not give him a chance? I would be very, very surprised if we don't see this man given at least 20 minutes from the bench in a game before the end of the season, because he looks like a really good young talent. And I think actually his profile, his skill set, will be something that Amorim values, so I think he'll get a chance. Now, the next youngster that I want to talk about is someone that we have covered in a video recently, and that is Benito Manato, a player that I think could come in at right wing back. And that is why straight away he could have an opportunity this season, because Diogo Dallow has played a lot of football, he plays with a great intensity, but he must be shattered. He must be getting to that point where he is really tired and probably needs to be protected for the Europa League. And right now, we don't have too many other options to play that position. Mazraoui needs to be protected, Ahmad currently injured. We don't really have too many options here, which is why Manato could come into the team. And I really like his skill set. Sort of a player that can go both ways, so he can receive with his back to goal and he can spin inside the pitch onto his left foot, or he is a player that can take the ball down the line. And what I would love about this is the opportunity to see a winger playing in this position. I think this is something that we have all been looking at in terms of for next season. In the shape of Manato, we have the chance already to see what that could look like. Again, he is someone who is going to be more direct, a bit more aggressive with his movement and look to take defenders on. Like I said, we did do a full video on him recently, so make sure to go and check that out. But for me, he is one of the real blossoming young talents in the academy right now that I think it's really a matter of time before he gets his minutes. The only thing that may hold him back is we are probably going to see a slightly inexperienced team until the end of the season. Is it a little bit risky to start using wingers in these wing-back positions when they're also young players? Perhaps Amorim may see it that way, but the way I see it is it's an amazing opportunity to see what we can look like in a more attacking, a more expressive game plan. So Manato should be given a chance, in my opinion. Not just I think he will, he actively should. He's a very, very good young talent. I think he has drawn comparisons to the likes of Bukayo Saka. That's a compliment. This young guy is good. Give him a chance. Now, something that may just stop Manato's chances of coming into the first team is the fact that there is another player fighting for the same position. I am, of course, talking about Camson. Now, this is another youngster that we spoke about around 6 weeks ago after a really impressive performance against Arsenal in the FA Youth Cup. And like I said, he is another player who would probably come into the team and play as a right wing-back. But the profile is quite different. This is not a winger kind of put into the wing-back position. This is a full-back being asked to play a more expansive, a more attacking role. And that suits Camson. He's got an amazing energy on him. The engine on him, sorry. The energy levels are incredible. He'll go up and down the right-hand side all day long. All day long. He loves making runs on and off the ball. He can also go inside the pitch, which is pretty interesting as well. But what I also like is the way he perhaps naturally fits a slight tactical evolution we have seen at United recently. What we saw the other night against Lyon was Dallow often dropping deeper to draw the fullback out, and then we're looking to get runners into those spaces. Camson is actually quite a nice player, quite a comfortable player at dropping into this deeper position, because he is naturally a fullback, and then playing that clipped ball over the top. That is something that he can absolutely do. So I would like to see Camson given an opportunity in this role. I think, importantly, he also gives us something in the final third. He will attack the space. Not a natural attacker, not a natural finisher. His final action in terms of crosses perhaps needs a little bit of work. But I think particularly when the ball's on the other side and you're looking to deliver to the far post, Camson is the sort of player who is going to get himself in there. And, you know, he's been involved in recent matchday squads. For me, it's a matter of time. Now, we're going to stick with the wing-back positions, but actually go over to the other side of the pitch to talk about Harry Amas. Now, this one is obvious, right? This isn't exactly a rogue shout. This is a young man who has literally been playing left wing-back in recent weeks. Got his first start in the Premier League last weekend and featured in the games against Lyon. Amas is an impressive young player, a young left-back that we've spoken about quite a lot on the channel, particularly going as far back as pre-season last year. Amas is a really nice young player, and I think what he brings to this United team is natural aggression to his actions. Now, I'm not talking about going about the place and fighting people. I'm talking about wanting to be progressive and engaging in attacking moments. And what I mean by that is he isn't just happy and content knocking the ball around the back. When he gets the ball, he's going to have a look up and he's happy to take on a fullback. Physically, he might lack a little bit here. He probably needs a bit of work, but technically he is good. He protects the ball. But I think more it's the progressive passing he offers. I think when he picks the ball up, he's looking for that progressive option. He's looking to move the ball through the lines or perhaps with a clipped pass down the channel. Again, in an almost Luke Shaw-like fashion. But I think the other thing we get here is, again, another young wing-back who is full of energy, full of attacking intent, full of desire, wanting to get into the final third. Now, does that last action need a little bit of refinement? Of course it does. He's a very young player still. But we've seen throughout his time in the academy that he can be a good crosser, but also that his crossing selection can be quite good as well. He's not someone who is just going to hopelessly smash it across the box every time. He will also get his head up and look towards the edge of the box. Like I said, we've seen him in recent matchday squads. We've seen him literally on the pitch. He's going to play. The final player we are going to talk about is once again a pretty obvious one. We are talking about Cheeto Obi, and the reason why this one is obvious is because Manchester United have a lack of strikers. We've got Joshua Zirkzee out until the end of the season, which means Rasmus Højlund will need to be protected at some point. A way you can protect him is by bringing this young man into the team and giving Cheeto Obi a chance to lead the line. Another young Danish striker, another striker who is who is raw. Of course he is. These are all academy players. These are all incredibly young. They've got so much to learn. But the best way for them to learn, really, is to get themselves on the football pitch. Cheeto Obi is a bagsman. He's a player that scores goals. Throughout youth football, he has done that consistently. Been a real nuisance, to be honest, a real thorn in the side of pretty much every academy defence that English football has to offer. Cheeto Obi is a nuisance. He is a menace to play against. And the reason for that is because he's quick, he's pretty strong, he uses his body well, and just all day long he is going to stretch in behind the opposition defence. He loves running in behind, and one-on-one, like I've said already, his finishing is lethal. But he's not just sort of a player that can only do one thing. He's not a one-trick pony. He doesn't just offer you that in-behind play. He also loves dropping off into a little bit of space and trying to drive with the ball. Now, I'm not too sure how well he'll be able to do this in senior football, particularly at United. We don't really create this situation too regularly, I wouldn't say at the moment. But if we were able to do that, Cheeto Obi is a player who would love to try and do this, to love to pick the ball up and drive and attack defences. If you think almost what Rasmus Højlund was doing last season at times, I think that suits Cheeto Obi and the way that he wants to play, sort of attacking the opposition defence. And again, like I've said, if he can, before the end of the season, get himself into the final third, score a couple of goals, then who knows what that could do for his confidence and the trajectory of his career. If a young striker can come into the first team, score just two goals before the end of the season, that would be huge for his confidence. That would give him such a boost. The manager shows the faith, he repays the faith with some goals. Again, I think Cheeto Obi, I think it's inevitable. He will play at some point before the end of the season. And to be honest, I think all 6 of these will get some form of minutes, whether that be 20-minute cameos. Some of them will get starts. There's probably others as well that we will see. What I want to hear in the comments down below is the order of how likely they are. So number 6 is the least likely of the 6 that we have discussed today, and number 1 is the guarantee, definitely going to get minutes. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. But apart from that, we are finished for today's video, so thank you guys for watching. Hope you have enjoyed it, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.